Today, I am here to present the web platform developed by the Dataset team, which aims to provide the visualization, querying, and delivery of the project data collected so far. The website will soon be available on our project website and mainly consists of a web map based on the ISRI platform, which is capable of displaying cartographic layers of different types. The portal is structured with a dual function, meaning a dual map window. The first one, called AGL, which stands for Agricultural Leaching, displays maps related to aquifer vulnerability to pollutants. The second one, called SP, displays maps for the same project sites, not concerning vulnerability to pollutants, but rather coastal vulnerability related to both saline intrusion and seawater upconing. On the left-hand side, you will find a toolbar with several functions. The first is AGL, which allows you to check the areas that have been analyzed so far within the project. The available functions are the standard ones, turning layers on and off, and by clicking on the checkbox, you can identify the elements that make up each macro area. For example, in Morocco, we have both the wells and the vulnerability map of the area itself. Let us now move to Italy and focus on the Volturno area. By clicking on the three dots on the right, you can zoom directly into the map, allowing you to immediately identify the area of interest. What you are seeing here is the distribution of the intrinsic vulnerability of the aquifer to pollutants. It is divided into 5 main colors. These 5 colors can be viewed in the legend through the Legend button. Please note that each window can be resized and moved according to your preferences. Here you can see a clear legend showing the vulnerability levels from green to red and their corresponding qualitative classification, ranging from very low to very high. This type of legend is available for each layer and automatically updates according to the zoom level on the map. In addition, once you have reached the area of interest, you can use the attribute table to query the data displayed on the screen. For example, here you can see the distribution of the areas and their vulnerability, together with the corresponding area and perimeter. Similarly, the table allows you to navigate through all the other available layers. For example, regarding the wells, you have access not only to the georeferenced information, but also to the chemical data provided by the users. Everything can be downloaded and is ready for use. Another available feature is the possibility of creating an elevation profile. This is very useful because one of the fundamental parameters in the vulnerability analysis is represented by morphology. By drawing a profile across the area, you can relate the morphology to the vulnerability levels. For example, it is very clear in this case that areas with higher elevation above sea level show lower vulnerability, whereas depressed areas tend to show higher vulnerability, which is also related to the morphological trend. In addition, 2 viewers have been implemented. The first one is the comparison map. This allows you to open a second window, still set on AGL, enabling you to compare 2 different areas using the same parameter and the same classification system in order to assess the differences in vulnerability between one site and another. The second viewer, called Viewer SP, links not to the same map related to vulnerability to pollutants, but to the salinization map. This allows you to compare different types of vulnerability for the same area. For example, in the Volturno area, the main map shows the AGL layer, while the secondary map displays the vulnerability to salinization. Likewise, if we move to SP, all the commands previously used in the toolbar are also available there, as well as the comparison windows and the option to link back to the AGL map, providing access to that type of information. As a final note, you also have the possibility to add additional datasets, mainly from the Esri platform, including both online GIS services and the Living Atlas, which are freely available resources. These include land use maps, elevation maps, and other information derived from satellite data that have been further processed, such as NDVI indices or Coran land cover data.